In Thomas Ligotti's book, The Conspiracy Against the Human Race, he puts forth a theory about why people are so unsettled by um, objects of art which bear an anthropomorphic resemblance, because Ligotti isn't just a philosopher, he's also a horror writer, so he has insight into this, into what scares people. And he says that when we look into the eyes of a puppet or a mannequin, there's a possibility in the back of our minds that it may look back at us and begin talking or moving around. And that scares us because it upsets the natural order of things. But Ligotti suggests that when we look into the eyes of another human being, we should be equally repulsed and horrified, because when you look into another human being's eyes, you really are looking into the eyes of a puppet. Only instead of a puppet made of wood and fabric, you're looking into the eyes of a puppet made of proteins and amino acids and enzymes, neurotransmitters, but nevertheless a puppet. There's a Ligotti quote where he says, the sum of the human phenomenon is but the densely coiled layers of illusion, all wound around the central insanity that there can be people at all, when all there really are empty mirrors, laughing and screaming as they parade about in an endless dream. And that sounds pretty scary, if you don't put too much thought into it. After all, it was written by a horror author. But precisely what are the empty mirrors reflecting, Mr. Ligotti? Because I've never seen a mirror laugh or scream on its own. Now, I don't necessarily disagree with this idea that human beings are meat puppets. At least these vessels that our souls occupy are. They're nothing but decaying flesh on disintegrating bones. But another philosopher, one perhaps even less known than Ligotti, and one of my favorites, Guy Murchie, talked about the difference between life and non-life being maybe a little bit more arbitrary than we realize. He talked about the secret life of mineral crystals, the life of a babbling brook. He saw life everywhere. See, instead of seeing a soulless meat puppet when I look at another human being, I see the forces of nature which animate human flesh, present in all things. And to call that force anything else besides God would be an equivocation. So, maybe this video really didn't need a second part. But what I'd like to say to Inmendum and Thomas Ligotti, what I would say to Schopenhauer if he were still alive, is that you haven't adequately convinced me to be miserable, or to castrate myself and preclude the possibility of me ever ripping another hitherto non-existent soul out of the void and trapping it in a prison of flesh to experience suffering. Oh, people are so fucking emo. At least Ligotti is making money by doing it in Mendham. You're doing it for free like a 4chan janitor. And what I find the most unsettling is that I know you have a lot of acolytes. Most of whom are edgy teenage kids. Prone to making rash decisions without weighing the consequences. Guess that's all I have to say. I do enjoy our chats in Mendham. Keep it fake.